Part 80. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yet. Chapter 791. Yang Nai felt it was outrageous. Yes, I would like to meet with your family. And Oreki-san said. There is something very important that I hope the other party can do. Yang no, she looked directly at Oreki-san, for Yukino. Yukino? Yuki Nashida Yukino, I don't have such thoughts, Oreki-san said. Ah, you don't think I like Yuki Nashida Yukino, do you? Miss Harano, your layout is too small, Oreki-san said. What is that? Yang Nai said. Because aren't you pursuing Xiaojing? As a result, now we need to obtain information about her family and contact her family members. So, in that moment, as a sister controller, Yuki Nashida Yano misunderstood that the other party wanted to pursue her sister. You won't say it's for me, hee. Ms. Harano showed a cute smile and then laughed at herself. Of course, this sentence did not come from my heart, it was just used to adjust the atmosphere. Of course not, Oreki-san immediately denied. Yang Nai. Harano glanced at Oreki-san because he didn't expect to be rejected without hesitation. This made her want to take out a small mirror and look at herself. After all, she is also a beautiful big sister, but in the end, the other party is not interested at all. This greatly reduces her charm. Actually, in a way, it can be said that it's for you, Oreki-san added. Yang no blinked again at this time. For me? You don't really like me. Judging from your hairstyle alone, Ms. Harano, you are my type. But I already have Xiaojing. And Miss Harano, you are in trouble. What is a hairstyle you like? Does it mean that the person you like also has shoulder-length hair? But this is not the case for Xiaojing. Yangano, who was in a displeased mood, immediately pursed her lips. What does it mean to be troublesome? Oreki-san, don't you think it's an excessive comment? Did Xiaojing say bad things about me? No, Xiaojing is not that kind of person. This is my intuition, Oreki-san said. Miss Yangno, you actually don't like your current life, right? What's the meaning? I don't think you want to inherit the Yuki Nashida family. So if I want to pursue you or something like that, this matter cannot be avoided. If you have no way to choose to inherit the Yuki Nashida family, then you will have to lower your status in pursuing you, and your talents must not be overly outstanding, because if you want to inherit the Yuki Nashida family, you must not have any ties. So a little puppy husband is necessary. And if you have a way not to inherit the Yuki Nashida family, you probably won't choose it, because once you don't inherit the Yuki Nashida family, then your status as the heir of the Yuki Nashida family for the past 20 years will be in vain. It's like denying you these 20 years of life. So you are in trouble, Oreki-san said. Hee. Harano then looked at Oreki-san seriously. Because she discovered that Xiaojing might not have been deceived by the bait of marriage for a moment, but it was her choice after thinking about it. At the same time, she also knew that this was not something Xiaojing told Oreki-san about her. But he himself discovered what kind of person she was. This is a very dangerous man. Yangano narrowed his eyes slightly. She was looking at Oreki-san. Oreki-san, on the other hand, is generous and generous. After a while, she opened her mouth gently and said, if I had known you earlier than Xiaojing, then maybe I would have fallen in love with you. Because it's hard to find someone who can see through me, Yangno said. You are right. I hate inheriting the family, but I have to inherit. I don't want to be denied the efforts of the past 20 years. So there is a high probability that I will inherit the Yuki Nashida family in the future. And the choice of my future husband can only be mediocre. He cannot be outstanding or have an excellent net worth, and such a person will definitely not be considerate of me. And if this happens, the rest of my life will become very boring. Because even in front of my husband, I have to maintain the corresponding expression of the name Yukinashita Harano. So, there are very, very few people who can see through me like you. If you are not Zyajing's man, then I might really want to get you, Yangno said in a serious tone at this time. Oreki. When Oreki came here, he had already confessed his love to Hiratsuka-sensei, but now he was going to have his love confessed to him by the great demon king Harano too. This is really a complicated experience. However, Oreki probably understands that Yukinashita Yano behaves like this. Although I came here initially to do Hiratsuka Shizuka's mission. I feel like everything is over, but Hiratsuka-sensei still has no place to belong. It looks quite pitiful. But suddenly, I felt that the most pitiable person was the big devil in the original work. She didn't wait for any close friends, or even people who understood her. The original mission requirement was to find out Yangno's life experience. However, they all met Yangno, but the progress of the mission did not change. Obviously, Yangno may not know this life experience, so he wanted to contact her family. It turns out that this guy is the most pitiful person. So, who do you want me to introduce you to? Yang Na decided to return to the topic. It's not Yukino, and it's not me, so is it my father? My father is a county councilman and is quite busy at work, so my mother is a little free. In other words, she is actually quite free. Both your father and mother want it, Oreki-san said. And now anyone can be contacted. Oh. This is the type of meeting the parents directly. Then let's talk about important things. Yang Nai sat up somewhat upright. What exactly is it? I hope your family can give birth to a third child as soon as possible. In other words, Yang No, you can add a younger sister or younger brother. And this is my request, Oreki-san said. Puff. This made Yang No almost squirt. What are you talking about? What does the third child in my family have to do with you? Yang Nai complained. Because this is the solution to your problem. Harano in the original book is probably the same as Harano now. She wants to pursue freedom and doesn't want to be the heir to the Yukinashita family. Her sister wants to be the heir, but unfortunately she doesn't have the strength, so she doesn't want her sister to become herself. So in that case, just find another heir. So having a third child may indeed accomplish the task. So this can be regarded as the solution that Oreki-san came up with to help Harano's current situation, but obviously such words cannot be said, so Oreki-san said. I met Yukinashita Yukino 2 days ago. She helped my younger sister deal with being bullied. Profound. Yangno began to gently pinch his straight black hair. She knew that was the case with her sister. I was often bullied by school, and even went to study abroad when I was in junior high school because of this. But something like this happened again. But she is good enough and has learned how to deal with bullying. So no one needs to worry about this anymore. And it's understandable that she would lend a helping hand to people who have gone through the same thing. Then I discovered that she seemed to be very interested in the inheritance of your Yukinashita family. Then. She's totally not the material. Yang Nai. Harano listened to Oreki-san's words, and she actually felt that Yukino didn't have this talent. Moreover, inheriting the Yukinashita family is not a good thing, Yukino is an idiot. And I've always been thinking about how to repay her. So, this is my reward, Oreki-san said. Repay? Let her have a younger brother or younger sister. Could it be that? Harano originally looked at Oreki-san with stern eyes. Could it be that you want a third child, that is, a third person to inherit the Yukinashita family? Yes. The heir to the Yukinashita family is not a good person. So this is a good choice for you and your sister. So, let your family have another heir. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 792. After listening to Oreki-san's words, Harano looked at Oreki-san with a strange look. Although this guy's proposal is very perverted. It is even said, very exaggeratedly, how can you, an outsider, interfere with other people's family affairs? Even caring about whether people have children or not. But because she realized that Oreki-san had instantly seen through all her disguises, Harano did not dare to ignore this suggestion easily. She has lived as Yonashita Harano, the poster child of the Yuki Nashida family, for 20 years. If she just gives up inheritance or something like this, it would be denying everything she has. I definitely don't want to. But I don't want the rest of my life to continue like this. But what if there is a new brother? No matter which world it is basically inherited by men. So if there is a younger brother. As for the younger brother, he might be the true successor. Then Yukino wants to be like her and inherit the Yuki Nashida family. Forget it, Yukino's ability is insufficient first of all, and this is definitely not Yukino's original intention. Yukino is just imitating her clumsily. And Yang now also needs to consider one thing. That means the relationship between parents is very bad. My father was very busy with his work as a parliamentarian and often didn't come home. Even when he came home on important days, he and his mother would sleep in a separate room. So at one point she wondered if the two would get divorced. However, this state of doubt lasted for many years, and they still maintained this relationship. In other words, there are still feelings. So what if you want a younger brother? Will the relationship get better? In fact, she had already wanted to help. It's just that her status makes it difficult to persuade her mother and father. The Oreki-san in front of her has a very strong ability to read people's hearts, so he might be able to improve the relationship between her parents. Even if you didn't do it, you still tried hard. What Yangno hates most is not being able to do something, but not trying hard. So, okay, she said. I can help you make an introduction. It's just that, she said, you must do your part to improve the relationship between my parents. Oreki-san. I'm not here to be a matchmaker. But isn't your goal to repay Yukino? I agree with your proposal, Yangno said. Then, since there is no class this afternoon, I will take you to find Daddy. Oreki-san. This is said as if there is no reason to refuse at all. However, we have already received some information. Because task requirement, find out the life experience of Yuki Nashida Harano. Task duration, 1 week. Task reward, telepathy. Task progress, 10%. The progress of the mission finally moved. The relationship between Yuki Nashida's parents is not good. This seems to be an entry point. So, the two of them ate the fries they ordered and the family bucket together. Good to hold on to. Oreki-san handed the tissue to Harano. Yangno then stood up with Oreki-san. After she stood up, she suddenly felt something strange. Because when the two of them stood together, she suddenly felt that the way she got along with Oreki-san just now seemed to be quite harmonious. 3 Brother 377 The relationship between this family is really outrageous. Go up. Logo 9. Yuki Nashida Harano's father is a member of the Chiba Prefecture Assembly. This location is not very high, but it is still very prestigious in Chiba. Some tasks that require official organization, such as fireworks displays, temple fairs, etc., all require his support. And his wife Yuki Nashida Ren is a very capable and strong person. Did you hear what I said? Harano took Oreki-san to her father's office, and then told some about her family's situation on the way. And these are what Oreki-san needs to collect for the tasks he has to do. After Yang Nai said this, the progress of the task increased by 5%. But judging from how proactively she told the information, Oreki-san felt that she might have been on a pirate ship. Because Yangno is not such a frank and cooperative person. Therefore, there may be some unspoken obstacles to her wanting the Yuki Nashida family to have a third child. So what is it? But maybe that's why this mission is so difficult to progress. Oreki thought he could investigate. However, there are already some things that go beyond his understanding of the original work. For example, that is to say, Oreki-san said, in fact, your father is the bloodline of the Yuki Nashida family. And your mother was married. This is surprising, because generally speaking, after reading the original work, you will think that Snow Mother is very strong, so it is basically assumed that the husband came to visit her. But now it's the other way around. That's it, Yangno said. My mother's previous surname was Amano. After marriage, she will naturally take her husband's surname. So how is the family situation on your mother's side? Oreki-san asked. Mother. It's nothing, Yangno said, it's a middle-class family where the family is a lawyer and a doctor. They have a decent job, and my mother was a classmate of my father when they were in college, and then they got together. Ah, I remember that something happened to my mother's family at that time, and my father helped solve it. It was probably this opportunity for the two of them to get together. But this may not be important, because they didn't tell me this again, Yangno said. So let's not talk about this. In short, the two of them now actually have some hope that Yukino can become a lawyer or something in the future. Profound. Oreki-san listened to Harano's narration. The relationship between my parents is not very good, Yangno clicked again and said. Ding dong. As he spoke, the elevator had already reached the 8th floor. The 8th floor is where Yuki Nashida Harano's father works. Yang Nai immediately walked over and knocked on the door. Please come in. A gentle voice of a middle-aged man came from inside. People reach middle age and stand in their 30s, and Yangno's father is 38 years old this year. It is said that they got married right after entering college. Therefore, he appears to be relatively young among his parents. Dad, I'm coming in. Yang Nai opened the door directly and entered. At the same time, she turned her head, showing a sly expression, and winked at Oreki-san. Then he walked in first. Yuki Nashida's father is a county councilor, and he mainly manages matters related to public facilities and event organizations. And many large-scale activities also need to go to him for approval. So the work is quite busy. Not only that, he also has to serve as the construction company of the Yuki Nashida family. However, even though he was under so much pressure, Yuki Nashida's father's face still showed very few traces of time. It looked like he was nourished by when one's emotion called happiness, his heart was open, and his face had a youthful air. This is a man with a happy family life. Just by looking at him, Oreki-san was convinced. But Yangno repeatedly said that the relationship between her parents was not good, so where did this happiness come from? Yuki Nashida's father's office is relatively large, probably more than 70 square meters, but there are a lot of piles of documents and the like. Yangno. The father was originally at the desk. When he saw his daughter coming, he stood up and walked to the reception room on one side. Just as Oreki-san was sizing up Yuki Nashida's father, Yuki Nashida's father also noticed that he was following Oreki-san. There was a little surprise in Yuki Nashida's father's eyes. Yangno, how is his family situation? However, the question the father asked was very rude. Normal family. The name is Oreki Houtarou. My father used to be a teacher, but now works for an ordinary logistics company as a middle-level leader. And mother is an ordinary housewife. As for relatives, they are not in business or civil servants, Yangno replied. Also, I have a younger sister at home named Izuroha. Oh, after Yuki Nashida's father nodded, he picked up his phone and clicked a photo in the direction of Oreki-san. It seems that he wants to keep it as a record. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 793. I'm still sure of your vision. And the other party's family background is also in line with our expectations. I'll support you, Dad said. Thank you, Dad. Yang Nai smiled. The first thing I need to mention is Oreki-san spoke quickly. Because he found that the conversation between the two people was very problematic, he quickly said, I am not dating Yuki Nashida-san. You may have misunderstood. This is not a meeting with parents. Oh. Yuki Nashida's father seemed to nodded slightly. Obviously don't believe it. I already have a marriage partner, Oreki-san said again. Oh, however, Yuki Nashida's father nodded. Oreki-san. Oreki-san had already seen this expression on Sake Inaga's father's face. This expression means that they have completely entered their world, their thinking has been fixed, and they don't care about other people's explanations. It is a very self-expression. Headache. Yang no. Oreki-san quickly looked at the person who caused this drama. Miss Yangno leaned directly on the sofa, and then looked at her cute nails painted with purple nail polish. I purposely did not look at Oreki-san. -0. Is this intentional? Is it intentional? Don't you still want to improve the relationship between your parents? Although she was complaining in her heart, Oreki-san also understood that this was a small sacrifice that Harano made to give him a status close to her parents. Then reconcile the parents' feelings. After all, how could a stranger get involved in someone else's family? How to approach other people's parents without being suspected? Then how can the other person's parents listen? And Yangno made this kind of sacrifice, which means that she actually values her parents' feelings very much, so she hopes that he can help restore her parents' feelings. Then she even pretended to be boyfriend and girlfriend in front of her father. Think of this. Oreki-san sighed softly. The identity given by Yang now allows him to complete the task faster, so he will naturally reciprocate the favor. Then Oreki made a solemn expression. You're not talented, please give Yuki Nashida-san to me. Oreki-san made a solemn expression, and then made a serious move as if it was the first time he visited the woman's house. First meeting. Yuki Nashida's father finally smiled. I believe in Yangno's vision. So there will be no harsh criticism. So, Yuki Nashida's father, can you help me clear up my doubts? Oreki-san asked when Tukayang saw him. Yuki Nashida's father looked at Oreki-san. Although there are no checkpoints in this level, I'm afraid I won't be able to pass Yuki Nashida's mother here. Oreki-san showed a troubled expression. It seems that he is really dating Yangno, but he only dares to tell his father, not his mother. You mean Lun? Ren is Mrs. Yuki Nashida's real name. She is indeed very difficult to deal with. Let's do this. Yuki Nashida's father thought about it for a moment. I will have a rest this afternoon. I will go back in the evening and I will convince her. Isn't this awesome? Harano glanced at Oreki-san's actions. She initially felt that this man had a strong insight, so he directly understood and accepted the identity she gave him deliberately. Then she immediately tricked her father into going home to meet her mother. The relationship between the two is not good, but as long as they have contact and can at least talk, the relationship can be improved. If she hadn't known that this guy was already famous and had a wife, Harano would have wanted to give Oreki-san a call directly and just fake it. Did he? Yuki Nashida's father was about to say something else when his cell phone rang. After looking at the caller ID, his expression changed. I'll go downstairs. Yuki Nashida's father said, go get something. Just wait here. Okay X2. Harano and Oreki-san behave well. And Yuki Nashida's father walked out and heard the sound of the elevator closing, and Yangno sat down immediately. No, you actually admitted that you are my boyfriend, Yang now said. How courageous. Aren't you afraid of making things worse? Didn't you come up with this relationship yourself? Oreki-san said. And if there is no relationship, there is no way to talk to your parents. Then how do you persuade them to have a better relationship? Oreki-san said matter-of-factly. And this is your wish too? Yeah, indeed. Yangno no longer hides it. The relationship between my parents has always been very bad. That's why I want to use your power to help. Although I have thought about restoring their relationship, I always feel like there is something blocking them, Yangno said troubledly. Then you probably guessed it right, and Oreki-san said suddenly. Yang Nai looked over instantly. What's the meaning? There was a real estrangement between your parents. Or there is a third party in between, Oreki-san said. Yang Nai. What nonsense are you talking about? My mother has a lover. Or do you think my father has a lover? Are you talking about who cheated? Yangno's mood suddenly became excited, because no one would think that one of their parents cheated. In other words, I dare not even think about such a thing. What are you thinking? But Harano felt her heart beat a little panicked, because in her opinion, Oreki-san was very insightful. So it couldn't be that I discovered something. If we talk about cheating alone, Oreki-san is still good at it and has rich experience. He can experience the familiar atmosphere of cheating from Yuki Nashida's father. Of course this cannot be used as evidence to say so. So. Because your father is very handsome, Oreki-san said. Yang Nai. So what? And to be able to give birth to beauties like you and Yukino, your mother cannot be ugly. But a handsome guy and a beautiful girl. Don't you think it's strange that we live apart in the Cold War and don't get together often? People who like beautiful things will definitely want to be together. Then there's your father. If he doesn't have a good relationship with your mother, he doesn't look old. It shows that he is still surrounded by happiness all the time. So. Oreki-san said. I suspect that your father is cheating on you. He has another family. Yang Nai. Because growing up young means being surrounded by happiness, and then starting a new family. You must be poisonous, Yang now complained. I absolutely don't believe this kind of thing. Then let's investigate carefully, Oreki-san said. Your father may have an appointment this afternoon. Go and hunker down with him. Have an appointment in the afternoon, Yangno frowned cutely. How do you know? Recalling his conversation, I asked him for help. He said that he would have a rest in the afternoon, but he would only go to your house with me in the evening, Oreki-san said. I will rest this afternoon, I will go back in the evening and I will convince her this is what Dad said. Yangno quickly recalled it. It really is. It was obviously such an important matter for his daughter, so why did the father delay it? Thinking about it this way, I think Oreki-san is ridiculous. But Yangno felt a little unconfident. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 794. I'm back. After a while, Yuki Nashida's father, who went downstairs to get something, came back. He held a package in his hand. It's a handmade pottery cup sent by a friend when he was traveling, Dad said. Yeah, Yangno nodded. Because she felt that her father seemed very upright. It's not like Oreki-san said, cheating, or anything like that. Thinking like this, she saw her father opening the package and taking out the brown cup inside. The surface of the cup did not change, but when he turned the cup, can be seen. At the bottom of the cup are hearts. It's love. It's just a gift from a friend. Why is there love? Yang Nai. Then, Dad, we'll see you tonight, Yangno said. I have to buy him some clothes. Okay. Is the money enough? Dad seemed to want to make some money. No, Dad, I still have some. I still have a lot of pocket money, Yangno smiled, then pulled Oreki-san out. But when Yuki Nashida's father didn't see it, her expression changed immediately. Why is this happening? Harano entered the elevator with Oreki-san, and she was so frightened that she squatted down. My father seems to have really cheated on me. The system has already given the answer to this point. For 378 photos, the relationship between this family is really outrageous. Next. 5. The system has already given the answer to this point. Task requirement: find out the life experience of Yuki Nishida Harano. Task duration: 1 week. Task reward: telepathy. Task progress: 45%. The sudden increase of 25% shows that the exploration is in the right direction. As Oreki-san crossed his arms, he found that Harano was holding him. "Let's follow my father this afternoon," Yangno said with a painful expression. "You will accompany me." When Oreki-san raised his eyes, what he saw was the glint in the corners of Yuki Nishida Harano's eyes. "Is this crying in pain? I have always trusted my father, but my father cheated on me. Family relationships fall apart. This is very painful." So the two took a taxi and sat in the car waiting for Yuki Nishida's father. 10 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes, Yuki Nishida's father finally came down after taking a rest in the afternoon. "Then prepare to follow him," Oreki-san said. Yangno held her hands and leaned her head against her, feeling very frustrated. There is a real family relationship problem now, so she doesn't care who she plays. Yuki Nishida's father is indeed a little strange. "Does your father have a car?" Oreki asked. "Yes, he has a black car. He also has a dedicated driver," Yang now said. "But now, instead of taking his car, I chose a taxi. Obviously I don't want my whereabouts to be discovered." Yang now became a little nervous. "I must have gone to see that woman." "Driver?" The driver who was hired to wait here suddenly felt like Alexander. "I originally thought it was something to do with getting a lot of tips. In the end, he was going to come out to catch the rapist. Only to find that the car he was following had already started, he could only follow it quickly." After driving for about 10 minutes, everyone found Yuki Nishida's father getting out of the taxi and waiting by a bridge. After a while, a brown car stopped beside him. He sat directly on the passenger seat. And Yangno's expression was already desperate. Because she felt that this was probably the person her father had cheated on. "What if," Oreki-san said suddenly. "Do you know that your father cheated on you, and you will be in pain? Do you hate that woman very much?" Oreki-san said. "Absolutely," Yangno said. "Because if it wasn't for that woman, then my family." "Then you might not have to feel so uncomfortable," Oreki-san said. "What's the meaning?" "Because your dad cheated on him with a man." "Ha!" Yangno almost forgot that he was in a car, so he stood up suddenly. "Hit the head directly." The pain made her sit down obediently. "Man!" Yang Nai opened her eyes wide in shock. "Look!" Oreki-san hugged her and asked her to look in a certain direction. That was the car that didn't drive away immediately after picking up Yuki Nishida's father. And Yang now saw that the driver was a man with a silver necklace hanging around his neck. This man's face looks very baby-faced, and his specific age cannot be determined. But he immediately unbuckled his seat belt, and after her handsome father got in the car, he kissed Yuki Nishida's father on the side of his face. Yuki Nishida's father had no expression on his face, but he didn't refuse. Instead, he calmly rolled up the car window. "Yang Nai." "Ah." Yuki Nishida Yangno was extremely shocked for a moment. Oreki-san noticed her dull look and quickly reached out his hand to cover her eyes. Then he told the driver Zyajing's current address. Perhaps it was too much to believe that Oreki-san asked the driver to keep it secret and had already taken her back to Zyajing's home, but her reaction was not very strong. After all, any daughter would be shocked by the news that her father cheated on her and was gay. Even if this news is sent to Yuki Nishida Yukino, she probably won't be able to recover for a long time. After Oreki brought her back to Xiaojing's house, he asked Yangno to sit on the sofa and gave her tea, but she refused to drink it at all. Even if you hug her, she won't respond. He is clearly still in a state of isolation. Yang Nai is a rather difficult person to deal with. Her character is more rational than ordinary people, but she also has big flaws. So when an ordinary child encounters this kind of situation, he will probably question it directly or cry, but she is different. Instead, he didn't speak at all. This is a completely autistic state. This feeling is almost the same as being loved by your father all the time, only to find out that your father actually has a family outside, and the child he loves most is not you. It is the collapse of faith dependence. Especially when I was in Yuki Nashida's father's office at noon, I felt that he was a very rational and gentle father. So presumably everything he brought to Yangno was positive. That's why Yangno collapsed so quickly. Beep. There were footsteps in the entrance hall. It should be Xiaojing who came back from school. She has no class this afternoon. Even if something happens, she will come back if something happens to Yangno. After all, Yangno is also a student and friend she has always been worried about. Hiratsuka Shizuka was also very loyal today. Hiratsuka Shizuka stepped onto the entrance hall and walked directly to the living room without wearing any shoes. She was still wearing the white coat that she used to replace the science teacher in the office. All this proved that she was very nervous about Yang Nai. As soon as she entered the living room, she saw Yangno sitting on the sofa in a daze. She looked at Oreki-san, who winked at her. Xiaojing understood. She walked over and hugged Yangno gently. And the emotions that Yangno had been restraining finally broke out in front of Hiratsuka Shizuka, who had confessed before and had unlimited tolerance. Why is this happening? I have absolutely no idea. Why is this happening? Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 795. Her mood changed from excited to fluctuating, from fluctuating to passive. And Xiaojing patted her back gently, waiting for her to slowly vent her emotions. Probably more than an hour passed. Yang Nao's voice became hoarse as she cried, and then she gradually became quiet. Call. And in the end, I even cried myself to sleep. Xiaojing looked at Oreki-san at this time. So the two of them carried Yangno to the guest room together. Then, only two people appeared in the living room. It's just that both of them picked up their phones instead of talking. Yangno's current mood is unstable, and if old things are brought up again, her emotions may be triggered. But Xiaojing also needs to understand the ins and outs. Because Oreki-san just told her that something happened here in Harem, she was shocked. So she doesn't know what happened until now. In the afternoon she saw her father cheating on her. Oreki-san tried to simplify things as much as possible. Xiaojing. Indeed, some families may appear to be very glamorous, but they will have these and other problems. Xiaojing was also embarrassed when she heard that it was cheating. Because this is definitely not a share that outsiders can intervene in. It has to be something that has to do with the family, the members, and Mrs. Yuki Nashida who was cheated on. Should we choose divorce or forgiveness? Or the relationship between the parents has broken down a long time ago, so that the children can tell them about the divorce when they grow up. Or, they have known each other for a long time and maintained a tacit understanding without changing anything. These are all options. It's just that if it was my father who cheated, I don't think it could hurt Harano. However, Xiaojing quickly sent a message to Oreki-san. This is her understanding. Yang Nai is a very strong person, even a little too rational, and such a person will analyze it carefully. It may even be possible to suppress emotions and so on. So it shouldn't become the autistic state it is now. Yano's father cheated on men, Oreki-san quickly explained. The moment Hiratsuka Shizu saw the message, she looked at Oreki-san, as if to confirm whether he made a typo. Because this news has hurt her now, Okay. She left. As a result, Gay is by his side? Because the truth was more mysterious than imagined, Mr. Hiratsuka himself stayed at the scene. She has been a teacher for several years and has met many parents. He also knows a lot of shit. Only. What Oreki-san said was really shocking. Even she was stunned on the spot, let alone Harano, who was the person involved. This is really a big deal. Xiaojing sent a message to Oreki-san. Are you sure? Or maybe it was just a misunderstanding or something. It has not been confirmed, Oreki-san said. It's just that we can infer that the other party is cheating. Then it's just speculation, Xiaojing said. Don't be impulsive before verifying it. Let's investigate. She brought out the adult handling style. Do you have any information about the cheating partner? For example, take a photo or something. I wanted to take a picture, but I saw something was wrong with Harano's condition, so I didn't take the picture, Oreki wrote. Xiaojing. That's right, she is autistic now. Then she saw another message from Oreki-san. But I used my brain to remember the other person's appearance by Oreki-san. Ha! The brain remembers. Do you think you can reproduce it? What are you going to do? Shizukai, who was thinking this way, suddenly noticed that Oreki-san picked up a notebook, took out a pencil, and quickly wrote something on it. Then, a picture of a character was drawn. Hey, it's so realistic. As expected of a guy who can drop out of school with this skill. With this thought in mind, she took the picture handed over by Oreki-san. However, as she watched, her expression changed a little. Wait a moment, Xiaojing had forgotten to use her phone at this time. I'll look for some information. I remember I brought back the information of the second-year Class F students I teach now. She said. What happened? Oreki-san asked. This boy. Xiaojing said with a 70% certainty attitude. I think I've seen it before. It seems to be at a parent-teacher conference. Parent meeting. In other words, is Yuki Nashida's father's cheating partner actually a parent? In this way, it is not a matter of one family, but a matter of two families. Oreki-san watched Hiratsuka Shizuka stand up quickly, and then carefully walk to the room where Harano was placed. In addition to being a guest room, that room also has a bookshelf. Xiaojing sometimes puts materials and other things on this bookshelf. Simply. When she came in, Yangno was still crying and fell asleep, so she quietly rummaged in front of the bookshelf. Finally found the information about Class F. Then he carefully walked out of the room and came to Oreki-san. Probably because they were worried that the discussion would be too loud, the two of them went into the master bedroom and closed and locked the door. The sound insulation effect is the best. Suck. Xiaojing took a deep breath. Because the impact of this matter is too great, it cannot be mistaken. She then opened the information shelf. Above is the basic information, photos, and family information of each student. For example, Saki Kawasaki, female, 18 years old. Class F, 2nd grade. There are many younger brothers and sisters in the family. Although my parents are middle-level leaders, their lives are relatively tight. Saki Kawasaki sometimes works part-time outside of school. The school has applied for tuition subsidy, etc. Then there are photos of Sashi's younger brothers and sisters, as well as photos of part-time jobs. These photos were probably taken by Xiaojing herself when she went to visit. Xiaojing is really a very considerate teacher. Then the next student is Hayama Hayato. Hayama Hayato, male, 18 years old. Class F, 2nd grade. The family is wealthy, his father is a doctor, his mother is a designer, and his grandfather is a lawyer. Cheerful and optimistic personality, very popular. However, recently it seems that girls have been sending more love letters to her, and there are signs that Miura Yuko is being used as a shield. Then there are some photos of Hayama deliberately passing Miura in front of the girl who confessed his love, etc. Xiaojing actually even noticed this, which is really amazing. Then the next person is Uegahama Yui. Uegahama Yui, female, 18 years old. Class F, 2nd grade. She has a slightly introverted personality, but she has become much more cheerful after spending time with Miura Yuko and the others. The family is ordinary, and the relationship between the parents seems not to be very good. The mother uses the first floor of the house to open a coffee shop. And the father rarely comes home. In terms of work, he is involved in BL game production. I bought a game he made and it was pretty good to try out. Xiaojing's evaluation here is very subtle. Could it be that what Ebenahina said is true? Is there any girl who doesn't like BL? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 796. Thinking like this, Oreki-san and Xiao Shizu saw a photo of Uegahama and her parents falling down. It seems to be Uegahama's father. Xiaojing immediately made a strict comparison between the photo and the picture drawn by Oreki-san. Then he said, it should be exactly the same. Is it? Oreki-san looked over. The photo shows a middle-aged man who looks younger. And the same goes for what I draw. Even the two of them wore identical necklaces. Talk. Uegahama's father cheated on her, so does he still wear such cute clothes at home? 3 Wow, 379 articles, so-called passed down from one generation to the next. This will be troublesome. After confirming this matter, Xiaojing began to think deeply. Because Uegahama's father and Harano's father cheated on each other. Destroyed 2 families. How to deal with this kind of thing? How is Yangno going to accept it? Oreki-san, on the other hand, stared at the photo with a somewhat subtle mood. Because in the original work, Yukino and Dango have a very good relationship, and they are both a bit too close. As a result, they haven't contacted each other in this world, but are their fathers already together? If this is the case, this may be the same. Anyway, don't tell anyone else yet, Oreki-san said. Let's see Yangno's own decision first. If she wants to pursue the information, then give her the information about Uegahama's father when she is rational. If she doesn't track down who her father is cheating on, then don't tell her yet. Because maybe Uegahama's family still looks warm and hasn't been destroyed yet, Oreki-san said. Yes, Xiaojing nodded, she had the same idea. So, everything depends on what Yangno thinks and accepts. It's time for the next day. 9 o'clock in the morning. After yesterday afternoon, Yangno only drank a little porridge and slept all night. Then, I got up at 6 o'clock in the morning and sat in a daze. Then at 9 o'clock she came out. Worried that something might happen to her, Xiaojing specifically asked for leave today. Of course Oreki-san also asked for leave. In fact, there was no class this morning, so he didn't need to go to school. Call. When Yangno came to the restaurant, she took a big sip of coffee. Then finally spoke. Recovering a little bit, she said. What needs to be considered now are remedial measures. In other words, what she wants to consider is how to treat her sister Yukinashita Yukino. In other words, he was considering whether to let his sister know about it. Children who are difficult to handle sometimes become easy to handle. Because they are rational, it is not easy to deal with, but if they can find their rationality. Now Yangno has obviously overcome the biggest difficulty. She regained her rationality. First of all, my parents didn't have a good relationship a long time ago. And my father often doesn't come home. You only get to go home a handful of times a year. When they came back, they didn't see them living together. Now it seems. So, maybe my mother was deceived by my father, or maybe my mother actually knew about it, and if she knew about it, she still maintained the marriage. Then it's probably for me and Yukino. So I can't break my mother's tolerance, Yangno said. And being able to say these words, Oreki-san almost applauded her. Because it is truly rational. It's just that I was actually hurt too. Faith collapses. But she is very rational, so she can get through it. Xiaojing remained gentle and listened to Yangno's analysis. So I don't know what the truth is, and I dare not go to my mother to confirm. Xiaojing, and Oreki-san, one of you can contact my mother without leaving any trace, just to confirm. Yangno directly pressed the hands of Oreki-san and Xiaojing, one on the left and the other on the right. And this is obviously not something that can be said rationally. So what about your rationality? You must go to Mrs. Yuki Nashida to confirm this kind of thing. It was very embarrassing when Yangno asked them to confirm whether her mother knew that her father was gay. I think. Xiaojing thought about it. If she were the one to confirm, then the normal method is to ask Mrs. Yuki Nashida to come to the office and then make some insinuations. Or in a snitch manner. It's just that it's easy to alert the snake. If Mrs. Yuki Nashida doesn't know about this and lets her know. Xiaojing thought back to last year's parents' visit day. Yukino's parent was Mrs. Yuki Nashida. And then, well. That scene is indeed very unique. If such a rational wife gets angry, the entire Yuki Nashida family may be broken up. And this responsibility, Xiaojing thought about it again and felt that she couldn't bear it. So she looked in the direction of Oreki-san. Oreki. First of all, Oreki-san looked at Xiaojing. If this kind of thing is not handled well, the Yuki Nashida family will fall apart. At the same time, Uegahama's family will also collapse. Of course I know this. That's why I want to ask you, Xiaojing said. You must have a way, right? Oreki-san. Oreki-san noticed that both Xiaojing and Harano who followed him looked like they were asking for help. Totally irresistible. But this is an excellent opportunity. Because Oreki-san wants to explore Harano's identity, Yuki Nashida's father is obviously very reluctant to reveal the information, but it is still possible for Yuki Nashida's wife to complete it. He already has a guess about Yangno's life experience, but he hasn't been able to confirm it yet, so he may be able to get the answer from Yuki Ma. Task requirement: find out the life experience of Yuki Nashida Harano. Task duration: 1 week. Task reward: telepathy. Task progress: 60%. Judging from the progress, it is necessary to test. So Yuki Nashida Yano took the initiative to let him get close to Yuki's mother, which really helped. Oreki-san thought quickly in his mind, then came back to his senses and found that Yangno was still blinking her clear eyes, waiting for his answer. Ah! I'm afraid this person will die. She was hurt by her father's actions. Because now she even has to doubt whether she is her father's biological daughter. Because gay people hate being with the opposite sex and are physically repulsed. So maybe, Yang Nai may not even be his biological child. Oreki-san. Okay, hesitantly, Oreki-san agreed. But I can't be responsible for the consequences afterwards. It's better than telling Yukino that my father is gay, Yangno said. Ah. Yes, indeed. Yangno's thinking here is not only about whether she can accept it, but also how far she can accept it. She also has a younger sister who is even more immature. The cool girl with straight black hair appeared in Oreki-san's mind. That is Yuki Nashida Yukino. I know, Oreki-san said. I'll try my best to find out. But if there is news, it will take at least 2 or 3 days to get the results. What are you going to do? Yang now asked. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 797. Of course I want to get in touch with your mother, Oreki-san said. Xiaojing listened here for a while, and then her cell phone rang. I had to stand up and go to the balcony to answer the phone. Then he came back a little depressed and said, "Well, Oreki-kun, I'll leave this to you first. I need to take a quick trip home." "What happened?" Oreki-san looked over. "Dad is sick and is in the hospital. It seems that I am too tired and need to rest for a few days. I have to go back and take a look," Xiaojing said. "Then do you want to take me there?" Oreki-san quickly stood up. "If you are injured or sick, he can come in handy." "No need," Xiaojing asked him to sit down. "You'd better help Yangano first." With that said, she didn't have time to make any more preparations. She packed up the necessary things and hurriedly took the car keys and went out. "Ah!" Yang Nai looked at Xiaojing. But Xiaojing has already gone down from the elevator. So she had to go back to her room. As a result, Yuki Nishida Harano and Oreki-san were the only two people left in the empty room. But now the issues the two of them were discussing were all about Mrs. Yuki Nishida. First of all, Oreki-san said, "If you want me to contact Mrs. Yuki Nishida to get the news, then tell your father not to take me to your house yet. It's about finding an opportunity later, making some preparations, and then going out to eat together, not at your house," Oreki-san said. Yang Nai had no objection to this proposal. "I just felt weird when I picked up my cell phone and dialed my father's number." Fortunately, she was good at acting in the past, so she could control herself and speak in a normal tone when the call was connected. He conveyed Oreki-san's meaning. "Dad seems to be in a good mood about not having to eat at home." Yangno's expression became strange, proving once again that her father is indeed gay. It's like trying to avoid Mrs. Yuki Nishida fiercely. "First, let's check what your mother looks like," Oreki-san said. Yangno nodded. Let Oreki-san get in touch with him, trying to figure out his appearance. So she took out her phone. "You're too close." When Yangno sat over, she found that Oreki-san had pushed her away. "Yang Nai. It's not like she wanted to be so close. Mrs. Yuki Nishida is so beautiful," Oreki-san said. "Thank you," Yangno replied with a complicated mood. "Because her mother is 70% similar to her." "And don't worry," Oreki-san said, "you and your wife are very similar, so she should be your biological mother." "Yang Nai. You must be poisonous." She didn't even doubt whether she and Yukino had picked it up. Yang Nai felt that Xiaojing was not here. Oreki-san's attitude has changed a bit, and he doesn't seem to be so caring anymore. "Actually, you don't have to think about whether you are your biological child at all," Oreki-san said. "If it's your family, like you, and you are asked to inherit the Yuki Nishida family, it's definitely not a picked-up child. And there's a sister and stuff. And the one your father cheated on also has a family and children. So even if you really want to fool around, there won't be children in both families," Oreki-san said. Yang Nai. Although she had not thought of this possibility just now, she was relieved when he said this. "So, how do you want to get close to my mother?" "I'm not saying that. Although she looks like a celebrity, she is a very strong person and doesn't like others to oppose her. So trying to get something out of her is very troublesome." "That's not necessarily the case," Oreki-san said. "Sometimes people can talk freely about their lives to strangers. So it would be better for me to contact them as a stranger." "Oh." Yangno glanced at him. "I have to admit that this person is very strong. Otherwise, she wouldn't know that her father is gay." Yang Na felt that it would be better if she didn't know. But as long as this problem exists, the inability to confirm the extent of the mother's knowledge will definitely become a big problem in the end, and the stupid sister probably won't be able to accept it. Yangno feels that sometimes she doesn't want to be a sister. Because you really have to take care of everything yourself. As a younger sister, you just need to use your younger sister's privileges and stay behind. So Harano and Oreki-san made a plan. During lunch, the two of them ordered takeout together. Speaking of which, aren't you omnipotent? Why don't you cook? Oreki-san doesn't understand this. That's just acting, Yang now said, although I can also cook, and the taste is not bad. I always feel that cooking should be done for family members and the like. This. In other words, Oreki-san's relationship with her is too far away, so she can't pretend to be, and at the same time, she doesn't have to be considerate. This is really indifferent. Sure enough, girls with the same hairstyle as Sakayanagi are bad-hearted until they are conquered. Harano and Oreki-san's plan is also quite simple. Catch Mrs. Yuki Nashida and let Oreki-san show his face in front of her first. Then, just pretend it was an accidental encounter and create a small scene where you and she can chat together. After that, we have to look at Oreki-san's own words. Yuki Nashida's house mainly has two directions. One is that Shue's father is a county councilor. At the same time, the family also has a construction company. Yuki Nashida is the chairman, but he is very busy at work, so he basically doesn't care about the industry. In other words, the actual person in charge of the construction company is Mrs. Yuki Nashida. The future heir is Yangno. Yangnai doesn't like this huge and hard-working company. However, the current person in charge is Mrs. Yuki Nashida, but she does not seem to be too involved in the company's affairs, because she basically spends her daily life in various aristocratic wives' pastimes. For example, I can arrange flowers. I also joined the Calligraphy Association and also like to draw. As a county councilor, his wife attends various official activities. It can be said that it is very mixed, but extremely elegant. Probably enjoying life a little bit. There are two ways to contact my wife now. Oreki-san said to Harano. One is to join the association she belongs to. For example, become a member. First, meet her face to face. Then I'll ask you to ask her out, and I'll go see her. One is a little bit worse. For example, if she loses her wallet, then she picks it up and adds an impression point to her. Oh. Then you'd better go pick up your wallet, Yangno said. Why did you choose something without technology? Oreki-san looked at her strangely. Because your handwriting is not necessarily, oh. That's okay. Yangno originally wanted to deny it, but after discovering the handwriting written by Oreki-san, he quickly denied it. This guy is a great talent in painting, and the paintings also need to be signed, so of course the handwriting is not bad. Then I'll arrange for you to join the Calligraphy Association. My relationship with Obazan, the vice president of the association, is pretty good, Yangno said. No, but Oreki-san refused again. Why? Yangnai blinked in confusion. Because it seems very time-consuming. I'm just asking for some news for you, and I'm not trying to maintain a relationship. I don't want to waste too much time, Oreki-san said. I like saving energy. Yangnai. For a moment, Yangnai couldn't refute. Chapter 380 of Brother-in-Law begins to attack. Chapter 9. It's 4:20 p.m. The weather was slightly hot, but the sun shrank into the clouds and the entire sky became dark. It gives people the illusion that it will rain soon. Oreki-san was waiting near the parking lot. Finally, the 4:30 prompt on my phone came to mind. This is the itinerary given by Yangno to her mother, Mrs. Yuki Nashida. Today she participated in the Calligraphy Association's appreciation of masterpieces. This is naturally Oreki-san's handiwork. If he can't find an opportunity, he creates it himself. Yangno's commission was a bit troublesome, so he wanted to handle it as quickly as possible. That's not what his time was spent on. Therefore, in the original schedule, Mrs. Yuki Nashida would not go out but would learn flower arrangement at home, so he would not be able to contact her. Then just create opportunities directly. Let her go out, and the way is to write a picture and send it to the Calligraphy Association. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 798. As a member, if you discover such works, you will definitely be called to share them. The requirement to implement the plan is that the wording is enough to make people full of energy. For ordinary people, this kind of plan is definitely impossible. But unfortunately, Oreki-san cheated very early on. In this way, because of the attraction of word, Ms. Yuki Nashida was indeed invited. According to predictions, she was about to leave the association. With this thought in mind, Oreki-san looked at his phone and then took out the express box. He was wearing a light blue courier's uniform. He acted as if he was going to the recipient to sign for it. In fact, we also arranged for people to accept signatures at the parking lot. After signing for receipt, several ladies got off the elevator together. Oreki-san walked toward the elevator. The eyes of the people on both sides intersected at a certain moment. Oreki-san quickly confirmed Ms. Yuki Nashida. Ms. Yuki Nashida. Ms. Yuki Nashida was wearing a pale white yukata with lilies printed on it, and her long black hair was neatly tied up. The facial features are as delicate as flowers. Her skin is snow white, and her nails are a light, healthy pink. There is a unique charm to stepping on clogs. She is a mature big sister with great temperament and charm. He's the kind of person you can't forget once you take one look at him. But if you look at people, others will look at you. That boy just now was so handsome, said a lady. Oreki-san. Really? I think that word is very beautiful and I really want to know it, Ms. Yuki Nashida said. There was a coolness and temperament to her voice. It makes people feel quite comfortable listening to it. She looks different from other wives, not a manly woman. It's a pity that the words are not signed. Otherwise, it would be nice to know who sent it. Ms. Yuki Nashida sighed a little. He is a relatively well-established person. The impression that Ms. Yuki Nashida had on him kept flashing through Oreki-san's mind. Oreki-san saw that the time was almost here. So turn around. Madams, please wait a moment, he said. The ladies walking in front turned around. Which of you dropped something? He raised a plain wallet in his hand and said. Is it yours? He looked at the lady closest to him. Ah, no, the lady seemed a little shaken, but she still shook her head. Because there are other wives here now, you can't boldly ask for this young man's contact information. It seems to be mine. Ms. Yuki Nashida looked at the wallet in Oreki-san's hand, and then touched her arms. Oreki-san came over now. Hand her the plain wallet. Keep the things you made with your own hands, Oreki-san said. The embroidery on it is beautiful. Can you tell? Ms. Yuki Nashida was a little surprised. But Oreki-san politely handed her his wallet, walked into the elevator, and walked to the first floor. The surprised ladies were left behind. Ms. Yuki Nashida, you can also embroider. We have no idea, said the wife, who looked at Oreki-san and said he was handsome. But it's very beautiful, said the other lady. Because the plain wallet embroidered with lilies looks lifelike. A previous interest, Ms. Yuki Nashida said. I embroidered this when I was in high school, and it was all abandoned later. Does this mean that I have been using my wallet from high school to this day? Then it really needs to be kept away, a lady said. I have a coat that I have been wearing for a long time. Because I like that style very much. Actually, I still have a hobby of collecting stamps that I have kept since junior high school. The ladies quickly added new topics of conversation. For them, the handsome courier man just now was just an ordinary encounter and did not cause any trouble. Ding. Oreki-san entered the elevator, took out his cell phone, and contacted Harem. Because he came here not really to deliver a courier, but to give Ms. Yuki Nashida a preconceived impression first. From their discussion, it seemed that nothing stirred up. But that's enough. Because they just look familiar. Then, I have to ask Harino for the next step. Isn't your courier outfit pretty cool? Oreki took the elevator upstairs, and Yuki Nashida Harino was waiting there to answer her. Why don't you just become a courier from now on? Yang Nai encouraged. A lot of wives who are alone at home will probably like it. Because from her side, Oreki-san is the type of handsome guy with a bright sunshine. And dressed like this, it gives me the image of a handsome pretty boy. Especially his eyes and face, he should be very popular. Who do you think I am? Oreki-san said without changing his expression. As a person, I also have my own ethics. So it's definitely not possible. Please investigate my XP system before we talk. Oreki-san rejected Harino. Yang Nai. She just said it casually and doesn't want to know about your XP system. And the more you say this, the more likely you are to cheat. But your handwriting is really beautiful, Yang No said. The calligraphy and paintings that Oreki-san used to attract the ladies of the Calligraphy Association were written by him, and she then submitted them to the association. Okay, don't talk about this. You want to write another one for you later, Oreki-san said. Get to work quickly. Well. Yang Na pouted, I know. The work she has to do is relatively simple. Just invite Mrs. Yuki Nashida out of the ladies group. Then she left alone, leaving space for Oreki-san and Mrs. Yuki Nashida. Then Oreki-san started talking, trying to find out whether Mrs. Yuki Nashida knew that her husband was gay. Then we got information about how Yang Nai was born. Because they look very similar, Yang No can confirm that he is Yuki's mother's biological child. Hey, overall, this mission is very troublesome. With this in mind, Oreki headed to the private karaoke room with room number 302. There is a woman in this room. She was just a married woman who was about to get off work at a convenience store. Oreki-san, on the other hand, continued to dress like a courier, and was waiting for Harino to invite Mrs. Yuki Nashida to the next room, where he would then deliver the courier and stage a series of painful scenes. Did he? The phone vibrated twice. This is Kazuno's signal. Oreki-san then walked out as if he was delivering a courier and had finished delivering it. I glanced around and saw Yang No walking directly out of the room. I glanced inside and saw a young lady wearing a white bathrobe sitting inside. And when Yang No walked straight to the corridor, she looked back at him and blinked. In other words, she has completed her task. It's up to him next. Did you see him? How to look at him? Mrs. Yuki Nashida is a beautiful person. Of course, we can't just start from beauty, but also from character. She participated in many activities of upper-class ladies. At the same time, he also joined a caring charity organization. It is said that the Yuki Nashida family donates more than 5 million yuan to this organization every year. And there is no need to pretend about this kind of thing. So this must be her kindness. And words of kindness. Oreki took out his mobile phone directly in the corridor and pretended to make a call. Hey, it's me, Mr. Suzuki. I'll raise the tuition money right away. No, I know. I will ensure that my grades will not deteriorate, so can you please turn a blind eye? I will work hard. I don't want my mother to go back to that scumbag father. Oreki seemed to be very excited. When he put down his cell phone, he noticed that Mrs. Yuki Nashida in the karaoke room had noticed him. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 799. But he went directly to the next room to sign for the express delivery. Splash. However, the customer threw juice on her and said, I urged you 30 minutes ago, but you haven't even told me yet, And everything inside is broken. No, this may have been damaged during transportation. Oreki-san said. But the guest who signed for it seemed very rude. Why are you so harsh? Finally, Oreki-san heard a cold and solemn female voice coming from behind him. Ms. Yuki Nashida stood behind Oreki-san, and she noticed how embarrassed Oreki-san was now. So he walked over quickly on his wooden clogs. She stood in front of the guest who threw juice. What's wrong with being more tolerant? Then what about my loss? The customer who threw the juice said reluctantly. However, when she noticed Ms. Yuki Nashida's wealthy temperament and gorgeous clothes, she felt a little unsure. Are these enough? Ms. Yuki Nashida calmly took out two 10,000 yen bills from her wallet. That's enough, that's enough. The customer who poured the juice quickly took it, then walked forward as if to avoid it, and walked away. Noticing this scene, Ms. Yuki Nashida was speechless. Thank you, but she also noticed that the young courier next to her seemed very embarrassed. What a kid. Wipe it with a towel first, she said. Then he asked Oreki-san to walk into the private room reserved by Yangno, and then handed Oreki-san the white towel prepared for guests in the room. Oreki-san thanked him and hid his head with the towel. After all, no one likes having wet hair. However, the hair dries easily, but a stain on the top is not so easy to dry. So he had to take off his coat. He revealed his young body wearing only a t-shirt. Sit down, Ms. Yuki Nashida said. Let's talk a little bit. Oreki-san showed a confused expression. I just heard the sound on your phone, the wife said. Are you still a student? Well, I'm a second-year high school student, but I'm planning to drop out now. Oreki-san showed a slightly shy expression. Because the cost of further education is very high, plus I don't want my mother to return to that family again. At this point, his expression became serious. What happened? I don't mean to force you. Just think of it as a conversation, Ms. Yuki Nashida said, and then took 10,000 yen bills from her plain wallet. Put it on the table. It seems to be saying, let's have a chat, and then I'll give you the money. Oreki-san. Oreki-san glanced at Ms. Yuki Nashida, who looked pretty but was wearing a simple and elegant yukata. Then he glanced at the money on the table. He seemed a little entangled, and finally gave up. My family has always been terrible, he said. Because dad always brings men home to hum around with. Your father brings a man home? Ms. Yuki Nashida's reaction was a little astonished. Yes. My father is gay, Oreki-san said calmly. Ms. Yuki Nashida. Has this kind of thing become the norm? She seemed to be murmuring something quietly. It's just that Oreki-san has been observing her expression. It seems that Ms. Yuki Nashida knows that Yuki's father is gay. So the current situation of the Yuki Nashida family is what Ms. Yuki Nashida has deliberately maintained. Yangno shouldn't have to worry, her mother knows it, so everything will be fine until her mother decides. I don't know how to comfort you. The wife seemed to be in a dilemma, but she still thought that there was a child here who left with his mother because of the family's misfortune and was willing to give up his life. But what are you thinking now? Have you left with your mother? She said. Well, I have already left that home with my mother. But the father also claimed to sever ties with me. But I can't let my mother stay there anymore, he said. The man my father brought back even wanted to do something to my mother. This. The wife was stunned for a moment. This is very scary. Then I took my mother out, but when I came out I realized that life was very hard. My mother works in a convenience store. It's very hard, but she can only make a little money. So I came out to work, he said. Mrs. This is such an inspiring kid. And he's only a sophomore in high school. Isn't he the same age as Yukino? The wife immediately felt compassion. 2 by D 381 pictures last one hashtag home. How about this? She said. You continue to go back to school. As for the tuition fees, between now and college, I can help. I can pay you for high school expenses. But for college, if you pass the exam, I can apply for a mortgage-free and interest-free loan for you. Upon hearing this condition, Shuema found that the young man in front of her seemed stunned. She smiled gently, like a majestic peony in full bloom. Why are you willing to help me so much? Oreki-san was a little surprised. Because I know you're a good boy, Shuema said, and then she took out another business card from her wallet. You can accept this business card from me. Also, what is your phone number? I will arrange for someone to contact you for specific matters. She handed over a white business card along with the money on the table. And you should accept the money first. Oreki-san. Oreki-san reached out his hand as if to catch it. But he shook his head slightly. Madam, you should be married. But on the finger. But there's no ring at all. Is the relationship with your husband not so good? Most of the ladies who sympathized with me and gave me money were like this. Wanting to buy comfort with money. No, Shuema said quickly. I did not mean that. Are you sure that's the case? Then why are you so nice to me? Oreki-san said. And you were looking at my thin shirt just now. It's hard for me not to doubt that you meant that. Ah. So I say no. Also, aren't you a part-time worker? Or, in that kind of native family, this child will think like this. Snow Mom became very troubled. But Oreki-san seized the opportunity. But I have observed that you seem to be very concerned about the family composition of my family. Or have you encountered something similar? Oreki-san asked. What do you want to know? Shuema's eyes suddenly turned cold. Don't worry, I don't want to get specific information about you and what to do next. Oreki-san saw her vigilance. This is my student ID card. He took out the ID of Sobu High School sophomore from his pocket. Shuema. Well, I did encounter a similar problem. So I sympathize with you. But I am not in a position to disclose the specific situation, she said. Oh, Oreki-san nodded, but immediately sat down opposite her. Then please tell Harano about this, Oreki-san said. Yangno. Shuema couldn't help but blink when she heard this familiar name. Yes, Yuki Nashida Harano, Oreki-san said. I'm sorry that I deceived you earlier. With that said, Oreki-san walked to a corner of the karaoke room, where there was a bag, and the bag contained clean clothes. Oreki-san took off his t-shirt and put on clean clothes. Then sit down again. Let me introduce myself again, Oreki-san said. I am indeed a second-year student at Sobu High School, but in order to pursue my teacher's Iazu, I voluntarily dropped out of school and skipped a grade to go to the National University where Yuki Nashida Harano-san is. Shuema was stunned when she heard the news. Are you, Yangno's classmate? Yes. Then you skipped a grade, are you a genius? Shuema asked in surprise. Not really. But I'm dating Xiaojing, but my mismatched identity will bring her trouble, so I can only sharpen my head and climb up. Oreki-san said, the price is that I may have to paint for a living in the future. I showed my talent in painting and got permission to drop out of school. And the calligraphy you appreciate today was also written by me. Oh? If that's the case, isn't it a genius? Shuema also used to be a good learner. At the same time, he is also the type who appreciates talented people. So, Yuki's mother felt confused, because if Oreki-san really did this, then he would definitely not be short of money. Then why are you doing this? She doesn't understand the current situation. Why lie? Just now, you tried to trick her. It's very simple, Oreki-san said. Because Yangno-san and I witnessed your husband cheating on you. The cheating partner was still a man. Oreki Houtarou's Strength First Classroom. Author, Yu Yet. Chapter 800. Then Tu Kyung saw, Yang-no-san even doubts his own existence and doesn't know if he is your child. Shwema finally understood. Yuki's mother finally understood why Oreki-san appeared here. And then despite being so good, he still has to play a scene where a family is destroyed and the father is gay. It turns out to be a metaphor for people. He was trying to trick her. Shwema was quite smart and understood immediately. Understand that this is probably what Yang-no wants to do. That means Yang-no knows. She wasn't sure if I knew about it. So arrange for someone to come and test. Yang-no has thought that this matter is very important, so he is considering how to solve it in the most reasonable way. Shwema said, and then a smile actually appeared on her face. I'm very pleased that Harem has become so mature. It seems that she is indeed suitable to take over the Yuki Nashida family, Yuki's mother said. Oreki-san feels that it is better not to say the cruel thing that Ms. Harem does not want to inherit your family at all now. I will have a good talk with Yang-no about this matter, Shwema said. As you might think, I did know about this a long time ago. I should say I knew it from the beginning. But my family was in trouble at that time, so I had to accept this condition, she said. It turns out that there was an exchange of interests. In other words, Yuki Nashida's mother knew that Yuki Nashida's father was gay when she was in college. As a result, the other party agreed to get married in exchange for helping her family. So she agreed. That means there is no such thing as cheating. So, in other words, Yuki's mother actually knew that her husband was gay from the beginning? Your circle is really chaotic. Oreki-san thought so. Then I heard Snow Mama's voice. Anyway, this time it's a bit awkward. But you can help Yang-no do this kind of thing together. She must trust you very much, Shwema said. It seemed that the matter was simply carried away. Since Yang-ni knows, then sit down and have a good talk with Yang-ni. As for Yukino, let's keep it a secret for now. After all, Yukino is so simple, she wouldn't be able to bear it if she knew the truth. Yano doesn't trust me, Oreki-san said. She believes in Zyajing's vision. Xiao Shizu, its teacher Shizuka Hiratsuka, right. She is indeed a very responsible and kind person, Shwema said. Besides, the conditions at home are also good. So. She seemed to be searching for words, you should be very happy. But it sounds like he's hanging out with a rich woman. Although it is true that he is hanging out with a rich woman. So. Oreki-san said. Can I ask another question? What? That's what I just asked about. Is Yang-no-san your biological daughter? And her father? At this point Oreki paused. And Shwema nodded. Yang-no doesn't need to worry, because I am indeed Yang-no's mother. Even though it's just a child born through in vitro fertilization, Yang-no is indeed my biological daughter. Because the other person's genes were used, and that guy is indeed Yang-no's biological father. I see. Oreki-san heard the system prompt tone almost instantly. It is a reminder that the task is completed. Snow Mom is not lying here. But. Did he? At this time, Oreki-san's cell phone rang. Ah, it's Harano. Oreki-san glanced at him. Call. The task is completed, then the follow-up here can also be processed. Beep. Oreki-san pressed the answer button on the phone and turned on the loudspeaker at the same time. Oreki-san, how are you? Did you find out clearly from my mother? Does she know about Dad? Yang-no's state seemed very urgent. Oreki-san glanced at Yuki Mama. This also confirmed his identity and made Shwema understand that he was not lying. However, Oreki continued to say to Harano, the matter is now clear. You go back to my house tonight and have a good talk with her. Besides, remember to deal with the aftermath and give her the money to hire the convenience store clerk. You pay for it, Oreki-san said. Yang Nai. I see, Oreki-san is really broke. Okay, she said. Then he sighed again. After a while, she ended the call first. It's just as you see it. Oreki-san said, what we just did was a scene performed by Harno and I, including the customer next door. Shwema. You have really done a lot of testing. These are probably Yangno's ideas, she said. This is something I didn't think carefully about. Yangno is so smart, she should have discovered this. Shwema seemed to sigh. No, she is quite stupid, because she only found out that her father is gay at noon yesterday. Oreki-san immediately took over and said. Shwema. So, what do you want to say? Yuki's mother is not an idiot, and she quickly realized what Oreki-san wanted to say. I want to say, Oreki-san said. Miss Harano is not as smart as you think. It's not like you think it is good to inherit the family business. Hearing this, Shwema couldn't help but hugged her smooth arms. In other words, Harano has confided to you that she does not want to inherit the Yuki Nashida family. It should be said that it is not the Yuki Nashida family, but that she actually does not want to be Yonashida Harano. And Oreki-san said. Actually, this is all forced on her by Yuki Nashida's father and you. Yakoshida's father is gay, so he continues to pursue his true love, but his bottom line is that he will let the Yuki Nashida family continue. Therefore, it is necessary for Yonashida Yano to exist. As for you, Yuki Nashida, even though you said you received help from Yuki Nashida's father, you just repay the favor, so you started a family with him. But in fact, you may be very dissatisfied in your heart, so you have to let your daughter get enough benefits no matter what. In other words, Harano can only become Yonashida Harano. This moment, Yuki Nashida Renko instantly stabbed him with a sharp gaze. This is a prickly state that has not appeared since the meeting to the gentle state just now. And this state is truly awe-inspiring. In other words, it is an instinctive defensive state of human beings, because they have been probed to the things they least want to know, and have been probed to the bottom line. Because there can't be such kind people in the world, how can they still be honest after knowing that their husband is gay? Impossible. What a terrible family. Anyway, Oreki-san said. I'm just stating my conjecture. However, as a classmate, I hope that Yuki Nashida Yano-san can show herself. She may be able to hold on now, but she may collapse soon, and you probably don't want to see that scene, Oreki-san said. Or do you think it doesn't matter if your daughter wears a mask her whole life? Shwema's sharp eyes suddenly dimmed. Actually, I've also considered this issue. Yangno learned to drink when she was 15 years old. The normal drinking age is 19, but she started drinking secretly when she was 15. I was wondering if she was under too much pressure. But my life has been ruined and I won't accept it. So, although Harano wants freedom and doesn't want to be Yuki Nashida Harano, she has been Harano for so many years and she doesn't want to deny her past. And now Shwema is the same. She feels that her life has ended when she repaid her kindness, but she is not willing to accept it. Now, even though she has some regrets, she does not want to deny the efforts she has made over a long period of time. This is really the same strain.